Hi, welcome to this edition of Office Hours with Stitchcraft Marketing. My name is Laura Cameron. I'm Director of Operations at Stitchcraft Marketing, and I'm joined by all the members of my team, Flossie, Rebecca, Biana, and Annalisa. And our office hours here at Stitchcraft Marketing are so we can share with you a little bit about an important topic or a topic that we feel would be important for you to know and to give you a chance to ask us questions. So normally the format is we have a 10 to 15 minute presentation up front. Today I'm going to be speaking about when and how to hire a marketing agency. And then at the end, I will open up the floor for questions, and you can ask questions about the topic at hand or anything you would like. This is just a chance for you to get a little bit of free advice from us. So let's get into today's presentation. Today's presentation is built upon a blog post that we released about 2 weeks ago called When and How to Hire a Marketing Agency. You can find it at stitchcraftmarketing.com/blog, and then When and How to Hire a Marketing Agency. So one of the things that we know about a lot of the clients we work with is you are all crafty entrepreneurs. Many of you have small businesses that you have started. And when you are first starting out, you wear all the hats. You do everything from making the product to packaging the product, selling the product, putting it into a box and shipping it out, or delivering your services if you're a service provider in the form of teaching classes or creating your materials. You do all of those things. Plus, you are an accountant. You have to do your books. You are your own website technician. You have to navigate all your, excuse me, technology issues. And the other thing that you end up needing to do is your own marketing. Excuse me. Okay, better. So one of the things as you grow is that as you start to grow and develop a more stable business, you may be looking to outsource some of the tasks that you do, particularly if they are tasks that you don't find yourself enjoying, or they're kind of the tasks that always fall to the bottom of the list. And we hear from a lot of clients that they are busy in person, running their shops, interfacing with people, bringing out new patterns, designing new classes, just sharing their knowledge with people. And that social media is one of the things that often falls by the wayside. So some of this presentation is kind of geared towards how to know when you should outsource, how to do it, and a little bit of why you might select a marketing agency. Obviously, we are a marketing agency and we would love to work with you, but I also think that some of the tips are a little bit more general here. And so we've tried to give you sort of what we find when clients come to us build the most successful relationships. So first, let's talk about why you would hire a marketing agency at all. You may be kind of forced to decide whether you're going to hire someone to be on your team at your location, whether you're going to hire a virtual assistant, or whether you're going to actually outsource to an agency. So there are pros and cons to each. But what I want to talk about is why you might want to hire a marketing agency. First of all, we have systems and processes for efficiency. We have built processes to create content for you, to schedule content for you. We use best practices. We keep up on all the changing platforms. So we spend all our days, as our CEO Leanne would like to say, in the trenches with you doing all the things. So when you hire us, you get all of that knowledge about and you get our systems and processes. So we are executing for you as efficiently and as quickly as we can. You do get expertise and domain authority in your industry. We are all crafters. We all speak crafting. We know about special events. We know about Rhinebeck. We know about Quilt Market. We know about National Quilting Month. We have all kinds of knowledge about your customers and also what the special events are, what the things are in your industry. And that is a shortcut because you don't have to teach us all of that. We also have expertise in a variety of areas. For instance, we have someone on our staff, Rebecca, who is Facebook ad certified. So when we are trying to place Facebook ads, we have someone who has gone through Facebook's certification program to do that. We have Leanne, who speaks at a variety of industry locations and panels and has lots of contacts in the industry. So she is keeping up about what is changing in the world of marketing and the world of crafting. So part of what you get when you hire our agency is our expertise and our domain authority. When you hire a marketing agency, you get a team. You often will get one person who is assigned to your account, but that person also has access to the rest of the team, plus a whole plus a whole network of subcontractors and other people. For instance, right now there are 6 of us at the agency. None of us do the actual technical behind the scenes of your web design, but we have a few fabulous web designers that we work with steadily on projects. And so if you are interested in doing some website work, we have a vetted professional that we work with a variety of clients that we can share with you. Same for graphic designers, same for if you want to experiment with Google Ads. We spend our time cultivating our professional network so that you get not only our team, but you also get an expanded team into the industry of people who do these other tasks. And that is the connections in the field that we have. If you're looking for something, like I'm just trying to think of things off the top of my head. If you are a yarn dyer and you're having problems sourcing base yarns, we know of a couple spinning mills who might be happy to work with you. We have those kinds of industry connections. So no matter what problem you're facing, we may be able to help you find a solution. So that's a little bit about why to hire an agency rather than one person who may not have all those tools at their disposal. So let's talk about when to hire a marketing agency. Really the question is, when can you afford to bring someone else on? And the big question is, what can your business afford to spend? There are no hard and fast rules for this one. We do have some rules at the agency about account minimums. So we have a minimum level of account that we are willing to service as a monthly account. And that's just because if we set our minimum level so that we can achieve the maximum of what we can achieve for you. And we feel that any accounts less than that, we spend too much time trying to get organized and we just don't have a great effect. So I will say that we do have some minimums, and most agencies will, or they will have a fee structure that you can work within, but you need to spend a little time before you think about when to hire a marketing agency and make sure that your business can sustain that. So one of the things that we talk about is we want to see you budget for at least 6 months of spending. Starting with a marketing agency is also a little bit like hiring a new employee, developing a new team relationship. And it's going to take a little time to get right. Also, social media marketing is not an overnight fix. You're going to need to be posting consistently and creating great content on a regular basis. And you will organically grow your following, but that growth doesn't happen overnight. I will tell you our rule of thumb, it's about 5% quarter over quarter. But what we really want you to do is give us at least 6 months. What we find with some clients who have come to the agency is they really only have 2 or 3 months of funding to spend with us. And right at 3 months is when we are hitting our stride. We have adopted your voice. We've got a program going. We've worked out all the kinks. Everything's running smoothly. We're creating great content, and we are just starting to see traction. And then some clients have to pull the plug right then, which means just as we're starting to see the gains, we're not able to continue. So we want you to give it at least 6 months, better to give it a year, but really figure out what is a sustainable level of funding. And we do kind of have a rule of thumb. Our rule of thumb is 8% of gross revenue. So just to take some basic numbers, if your marketing budgets should be approximately 8% of your gross revenue. So to take some numbers, just to kind of spitball an example, if you are making $150,000 a year, you can afford to spend about $1,000 a month or $12,000 a year on your marketing, and that's at the 8%. And that's right around where we have set our account minimum. So you're looking at then retaining marketing services for that amount, and then hopefully growing well beyond what you're spending. So another thing to consider when hiring a marketing agency is, what tasks do you want to outsource? What is it that you want an agency to do for you? First, one of the things you can identify are, what are the things that you love to do? We have one client who loves to write her newsletters. She writes them in a really great newsy form. They have all of her personality, and we honestly could not create such a great newsletter. We can give her some tips on that newsletter on how to add more links, how to break up some of the text with photos. We can give her kind of a few tried and true tips for making her newsletter convert to sales a little bit better, but we can't capture that voice because she basically does storytelling throughout the newsletter. That said, she really hates to do social media. So if you are someone who loves to do one aspect of the business, but you really hate to do something else, that's where you should consider where you might start outsourcing things. You also want to consider where you bring the most value to your business. There's only one of you, and your hours are finite, sadly, and you want to think about what you can do to grow your business and where you add the most value to your business. And if it is not in developing social media posts, that is certainly something you can think about outsourcing. So again, what do you love to do? What do you hate to do? Be honest. What are the things that there's never enough time in the day to do, that you always wish you could do and don't do? We have some clients who say, I always want to send a newsletter, but I never end up getting around to actually sitting down and writing the newsletter. Maybe hiring our agency is a way that you can get a newsletter or two out a month on a regular basis, sharing what's new in your shop, events, classes, anything that's coming up, and you can really engage with your current customer base that way and kind of grow that list. So again, let's talk about what other things you would want to identify when you hire a marketing agency. So when you hire a marketing agency, it really is a partnership. We work with all of our clients to create great content. But one of the things that we can't do, because we are virtual, we work outside of your business, is we can't come into your shop and take photos. We can't film a video using your shop products. We can't teach a class the way you can teach a class. So you are creating a lot of the assets that we need to do our jobs. That doesn't mean you have to write out all of your content beforehand, but basically when we are deciding things, you have to tell us, okay, these are the 5 new things in the shop, and you can get the pictures from the website, or I have the pictures somewhere that I can get to you. This is a partnership. We do give and take. We definitely do the heavy lifting on kind of the creation piece of it and the execution piece of it, but we have to talk to you, and you have to be a partner in telling us what it is that you would like to promote, and then giving us some of the assets that we can use to promote that. So one of the things to think about when you're starting to think about hiring an agency is, how are you going to share those assets? First of all, where are they? Are you creating photos, videos, classes, other materials? How do you keep these organized? It could be a file structure on your computer. That's great. You could already be using some sharing tools like Dropbox, Google Drive, those kinds of things. We will meet you where you are at. But like our agency, we can work on Google Drive, we can work on Dropbox, we can work on some other sharing platforms. That said, you need to think about how you're going to organize things for ease of use. For instance, I have a client who we have a shared social media folder, and when she is ready to prepare social media images, say for January, and she tells me she wants me to promote these 10 products, she drops pictures of those products into the social media for January folder. She doesn't have to tell me that they're there. I know to go look there, and she names the files on what each product is, so I don't need to do a lot of figuring it out. We don't have to communicate a lot about it. She just has to pull those photos and drop them there, so that when I'm writing posts about her products and I'm looking at her website and looking at the manufacturer's website to get all the details on those products, I know where to go to get a great picture that I can go ahead and use in those posts. So think about how you're organizing things and how you're going to interface with a team, how you're going to share them, and start building that before you get started, because you're all going to be frustrated if you don't know where those materials are or how to share them. So let's get into the details of how you're going to hire a marketing agency. So first of all, how are you going to find a marketing agency? We're one, but aside from pitching for ourselves, there are lots of ways to identify potential partners. First of all, your network is key. You are probably friends with other crafty entrepreneurs. You belong to trade associations. You might belong to other business groups in your area. And you also have peers, likely who are in the industry. You should ask them what they're doing for their marketing services. See if they're working with someone that they like. See if they've taken it in-house, whether they've outsourced to an agency. Get some reviews, get some ideas, maybe even get some contacts. Second of all, attend industry events. For instance, the H&H America show, which is coming up this summer, is a great networking industry event where you can find designers, crafters, manufacturers. It is a trade show. It is for people who work in the crafts industry. So there are lots of opportunities to meet people there. There were tons of people there this year who were providing various bits and pieces of marketing services. Some may focus on video, some may focus on social media, some may focus on consulting. Depending on what it is you're looking for, you are likely to find a person who meets those needs at an industry event. You also may check with your local business development council. I know lots of areas have business development councils to assist small businesses in finding the resources they need. They may have a directory of people who work in marketing services that you may be able to access, and you might even be able to find someone who is in your own town, which could alleviate some of the problems if you want someone to come in and take some photos in store or something like that. So next, when you're thinking about how to hire a marketing agency, is kind of how you approach this. And I can only tell you how we approach this from our point of view. When we have a new client, a potential new client contact us, we set up an initial meeting. This is so we can meet face to face, we can learn more about your business, and we can tell you a little bit more about what we do. One of the things we suggest is make a list of all your questions beforehand so you don't forget anything. Obviously, things may come up in the meeting. You may have additional questions when it's over, but if you start with a list, you'll be sure to get the top questions that you have answered. Ask about processes for onboarding a client. How will they get to know you and your business? So at Stitchcraft Marketing, we do what we, with every new client, we do what we call a strategic analysis. And that is a deep research dive into our client, into what they're doing right now, sometimes a little bit of looking at their competitors. We look at all your platforms. We look at your website, we look at your social media, we look at your newsletters and blogs, your YouTube channel. We see what it is that you're doing, because that helps us figure out what program is going to be best for you and where we can have the biggest impact. So we do the strategic analysis up front, and in doing that research, we get to know you and your brand and your story and your products, so that when we actually start working with you, we kind of have a leg up. We already know a little bit about you. So one of the things that we do with clients when as part of the strategic analysis, and then when we start to work together, is we want to know what your goals are in working with us. And we refer to these as SMART goals. SMART goals are specific, measurable. I've seen both achievable and attainable, relevant, and I've seen timely or time-bound. And I'm going to give you an example of a goal that somebody will come to us and say, and then we will try and refine it to make it a little bit more of a SMART goal. For instance, you may come to us and say, I need to increase my sales traffic. Okay, that's great, but let's set some parameters around that. Let's see if we can increase your sales traffic 10% within 6 months. See, that gives us a goal to strive for, and it means that everything we're doing at the agency is working towards that goal, and then you have a way to measure whether that is indeed working. As we set these goals, you should come with some goals in mind. Also be aware that we will use our industry knowledge to help define what is actually achievable and attainable. We have had clients come to us and say, I want to increase my business 50% in 6 months. Honestly, depending on where you are at in your business, that may or may not be an achievable goal. And oftentimes we say it's likely not achievable just through marketing efforts alone. I mean, you have to really be putting a lot of investment behind that. That said, if you're a really small business and you're just starting out and your sales last month were $2,000, then maybe sure, we might be able to make it to $4,000 next month. So, you know, there is some give and take on this, but you want to come with some clear expectations of what you want this relationship to produce. And you need to communicate those to that marketing agency so they can help you produce those. So, and aligning goals at the beginning of the relationship just keeps you all working towards the same goal. So I think this is my last slide, but it is pretty much the most important. At the beginning of the relationship, you really need to set clear communication channels. I would say 90% of our problems with clients, and not that we have a ton, but 90% of the problems are because we have miscommunications. At the very beginning of the relationship, you need to decide how best you want to communicate. We like to have a monthly face-to-face meeting, but not all of our clients want to do that. Some of our clients prefer email. Some of our clients prefer text message. You need to figure out how you would like to communicate with the agency so that we always know which communication channels are the best. At our agency, we assign an account manager to your account. That is the person that you're going to be with every day in and out. That is the person that you're going to email all your inquiries to. You need to identify someone on your team who is going to receive those inquiries, and or someone who is also going to have responsibility for approvals. Are we working with you? Are we working with your shop manager? Are we working with different people for different tasks? That's fine, but we want to set that up at the very beginning so there aren't any miscommunications and we sent an email to so-and-so, but so-and-so isn't in charge of this, and then we didn't get an answer and we had a delay. You really want to avoid all of those things. And I would say most relationships that fail because of communications, and that's not just business relationships. So like I said, we identify an agency account manager. We want to know who in your business is going to be responsible for giving us approvals. Maybe we're sending our newsletter to your shop manager and she can tell us it's great, go. So, you just want to think about those things up front and set those expectations up front because you really, really don't want to get into any trouble there. The final thing, I guess this is the final slide, approach your relationship as a long-term commitment. You want this relationship to be fruitful for both of you. The more work you put into it, particularly at the beginning, the better it's going to be. And you don't want to hire a marketing agency for 3 or 6 months and then find yourself basically back where you started. We go into these relationships hoping that you will stay with us for years and that we will be able to grow with you as you grow your business. So you want to approach it as a long-term commitment. Social media and strategy execution takes time. We are not going to have gains on day one. By 3 months, we should see that we're starting to gain some traction. By 6 months, we should have some real good numbers for you. By a year, we're hoping that you are where you're at in your business and we are ready to tackle the second year and figure out where we're going to grow, what worked in the first year, what didn't, where we can reallocate our resources more efficiently. But this is a process that takes time. You can buy followers on social media and grow your followings overnight, but those people are not the people who are in love with your products and who are going to buy with you. Organic growth just takes some time. We do lots of experimentation. We got to figure out what resonates best with your customer. So a few months lead time, and working long-term gives us a chance to experiment with A and B tests, see who likes what better, and then do more of the thing that seems to resonate most with your customer. We like our people to commit to at least 6 months. We don't have contracts that require that because we're not going to require you to stay if the relationship is not working. Obviously, we have all gotten into relationships where we know before 6 months that it is not working, but we want you to kind of approach this both in your budgeting and in your level of commitment that you're going to give it at least 6 months to really see results and then evaluate from there how you might go forward. So that's pretty much what I have. I am going to stop sharing my screen and we'll see if there are any questions. So, okay, it looks like we don't have any questions. What I will say is that next month on February 15th, Wednesday, February 15th, we will be leading a session on our top 9 budgeting tips for your trade show experiences. We know trade shows are very expensive, and so we've put together a list of do's and don'ts for making that process as efficient and as budget friendly for you as possible. So you can find this recording on YouTube or any of our past sessions on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/stitchcraftmarketing. If you would like to attend a future session of office hours, go ahead and hit the Stitchcraft Marketing website and sign up for our newsletter, and you will be on our list to receive an invitation. So thanks so much, and we'll see you next month. Bye.